You've cried private tears over a public past. You've smiled in rooms where your soul was still bleeding. You've worshipped. While wounded, you've carried vision in one hand and trauma in the other. But can I tell you something tonight? God didn't give you that vision to tease you. He didn't drop that dream in your spirit just to watch you break under the weight of what tried to bury you. That vision, yes, that one, is real. And if he spoke it, then he intends to bring it to pass. But the enemy will use your past pain as a fog. He wants you blind. He wants you bound. Because a visionary who's wounded and distracted becomes a warrior who retreats. But not you, not today. We fix our eyes not on the failures, not on the fear, not on the pain that tried to name you. We fix our eyes on the vision, because if God gave it, it's holy if he spoke it. It's possible, and if he started it, he will finish it. Vision is sacred. When God places a vision in your heart, it is more than a mere idea or goal. It's a divine revelation, a glimpse of his will concerning your life. That vision might come to you quietly, through a whisper in prayer, or it may hit like thunder in the middle of your brokenness. However it comes, the moment you receive it, you're holding something eternal. And because it came from eternity, hell will do everything it can to stop you from walking it out in time. But before we talk about reaching for the vision, we need to acknowledge something honestly. Pain complicates vision. Not the pain of discipline or sacrifice, but the pain of the past. The kind that stains your memory, the kind that made you feel like maybe you're too broken to build anything meaningful. That pain didn't just hurt your heart, it tried to rewrite your identity. And when you've been through enough storms, the thought of vision begins to feel like fantasy. You start to think, maybe that wasn't God, maybe I made it up, maybe I missed my moment. The enemy of your soul wants you to disqualify yourself before you even begin. He wants your vision to die in the valley of doubt, because if he can't steal your calling, he'll try to suffocate your confidence, and nothing paralyzes confidence like unresolved pain. You know what God said, but the wounds are still fresh. You know what he promised, but your past is still loud, and every time you take a step forward, memories rise up and whisper, you're not ready, you're not worthy, you're not healed enough. Let me pause here and speak truth over you. God gave you that vision knowing everything about your past. He factored in your failures. He saw the betrayal. He knew the shame. He knew you would cry yourself to sleep. He knew about the wrong turn, the wasted years, the regret, and he gave you the vision anyway. Not because he ignored your pain, but because he intends to redeem it. That vision isn't just about your future. It's also about your healing. See, God doesn't just move you toward your purpose. He transforms you through the process. You won't come out on the other side as the same person who started this journey. He's pruning you as you walk. He's strengthening you while you serve. He's restoring what was broken while you build what he showed you. This is not just progress, it's sanctification. You're not chasing a dream, you're following a calling, and your healing is hidden inside your obedience. But that means you've got to make a decision. You've got to choose whether you're going to live in reaction to your pain or in response to your vision. Are you going to keep rehearsing what hurt you, or start reaching for what God showed you? Because you can't do both. You can't hold your past in one hand and your future in the other. One of them has to go. One of them will define you. This is where the enemy starts to panic, because he knows if you ever start walking by vision instead of memory, you become dangerous. He knows that when a wounded believer stops looking at the wound and starts looking at the word, heaven starts moving. That's why the battle has been so intense. That's why it's been so hard to focus. That's why you've been under attack. You've been under pressure not because you're weak, but because you're carrying something powerful, and the pressure didn't come to crush the vision. It came to test your commitment to it. Do you still believe what God said when it doesn't feel good? Do you still believe when you're tired, lonely, misunderstood? Can you still see the vision when the enemy shows you your past like a highlight reel of failure? If your answer is yes, if deep in your spirit you still know that God called you, still know that he chose you, still know that something greater is on the other side, then you're right where you need to be. Don't wait until it feels easy. Don't wait until it looks clear. Walk by what you heard in your spirit, not by what you see with your eyes. Let me speak life to your soul. You are not too broken to carry vision. You are not too late to pursue purpose. You are not too flawed to be used by God. The vision is still valid. You may have gone through hell, but the word over your life hasn't changed. Pain may have delayed you, but it cannot disqualify you, unless you let it. And I came to remind you, you don't need perfect conditions to take the next step. You just need a made-up mind. Keep your eyes on what God showed you, not what they said about you, not what life threw at you. Keep your eyes on what he promised in the midnight hour when you almost gave up. That vision was a lifeline. It pulled you out of despair. Now it's time to walk it out, even if it hurts, even if you're scared. Even if you're still healing, because the vision isn't just about you. Somebody else's breakthrough is attached to your obedience. Somebody else's deliverance is on the other side of your yes. If you give up now, you don't just lose a dream, you risk forfeiting a legacy. But if you keep your eyes fixed on what God showed you, he'll give you the strength to overcome what the enemy sent to break you. And one day you'll look back at the pain and realize it didn't bury you. It built you. You were born for this. Don't lose sight of it. Don't let the voice of the past drown out the vision of the future. God gave you that vision for a reason. Now walk like you believe it. There's something powerful that happens when you stop rehearsing your past and start responding to your vision. But if we're honest, that's not always easy to do, because pain has a voice and it doesn't whisper. It shouts, it reminds you of the places where you failed, the people who walked away, the betrayal that blindsided you, the moment you made a mistake and thought, maybe I ruined everything. And while God is trying to speak life into your future, pain keeps pulling your eyes back to what's already behind you. Pain is loud, but vision is quiet. Pain is familiar. Vision feels uncertain. Pain makes sense. Vision requires faith, and this is why so many people stay stuck. They don't stay stuck because they don't love God. They don't stay stuck because they don't want to be free. They stay stuck because it's hard to believe that God could still use them after that. Whatever that is for you, that divorce, that addiction, that abortion, that broken season, that bad decision, that cycle you couldn't break. But can I tell you something real? Your pain is not stronger than God's purpose. His vision for your life does not collapse under the weight of your mistakes. His calling isn't withdrawn every time you fall short. If it were, none of us would be standing. None of us would be here. The reason the enemy keeps dragging your past in front of your eyes is because he knows your future is too dangerous to let you see it clearly. So he clouds your vision with guilt. He fogs it with shame. He ties it to memories, to moments where you were vulnerable and hurting. And suddenly you find yourself questioning what God already confirmed. That's the trick of the enemy. He can't stop what God said, but he'll try to stop you from believing it. He'll use your emotions, he'll use your fatigue, he'll use people who don't understand your process. He'll even use your own voice against you. That's why Scripture tells us to renew our minds, not once but daily. Because this journey isn't just about movement, it's about mindset. If your thoughts don't line up with your calling, your life won't either. And don't get it twisted. Renewing your mind doesn't mean pretending your past didn't happen. It means looking at your past through the lens of God's mercy, not your shame. It means saying, yes, that happened, but I'm not that anymore. Yes, I broke down, but I didn't stay broken. Yes, I went through it, but I came out refined. God is not calling the version of you that was bound in pain. He's calling the you that pain helped prepare. Some of the most powerful people you'll ever meet are the ones who learned how to turn their wounds into wisdom. They didn't wait to be completely healed before they obeyed God. They said, even if I limp, I'll walk. Even if I'm trembling, I'll go. Even if I don't feel worthy, I'll show up. That's faith. That's vision. That's how you overcome, not by denying the past, but by refusing to let it define the future. God is not using you in spite of your pain. He's using you through it. The oil on your life came from the crushing. The authority in your voice came from the valley. The depth in your faith came from the nights you cried alone. You didn't just survive the pain. You found God in it. You found his presence in the middle of your questions. You found his strength when your strength ran out, and now you carry something that can't be taught. It can only be lived, but here's the turning point. You've got to stop giving your past more power than your promise. You have to make peace with the fact that what happened to you may never make full sense. But purpose doesn't wait for closure. God doesn't need your story to be neat and pretty in order to use you powerfully. He just needs your yes. And this is where many people stop. They want God to give them the full picture before they take the first step. But vision doesn't come with details. It comes with direction. God didn't tell Abraham everything. He said, go. He didn't give Joseph a map. He gave him a dream, and from the pit to the palace, Joseph had to keep believing that what he saw in his spirit was more real than what he saw with his eyes. Can you do that? Can you believe God when your life looks like the opposite of what He promised? Can you keep your eyes fixed when the facts around you contradict the faith within you? Because that's where real maturity grows, not when everything is easy, but when you walk through fire and still don't smell like smoke. It's time to stop waiting for a life without pain. That life doesn't exist, not here. But what does exist is a God who takes every piece of your brokenness and weaves it into beauty. A God who uses your story to set others free. A God who doesn't erase your pain, but transforms it. That transformation is your testimony. That journey becomes your ministry, and maybe that's what scares you. Maybe you don't feel ready, but God doesn't wait for you to be ready. He waits for you to be willing to trust again, willing to believe again. Willing to dream again, willing to look at your past and say, you don't own me anymore. That's how you take your power back. That's how you stop letting pain narrate your life. That's how you rise up and step into what God showed you. The vision still stands, the calling hasn't lifted, the anointing is still on your life, even if you're healing, even if you're rebuilding, even if you're still in process. God saw the end from the beginning, and He still picked you. That means you're not disqualified, you're not discounted, you are developing, so walk like it, pray like it, worship like it, speak like it, live like it, because what God is doing in your life is bigger than your history. It's bigger than your mistakes, and it's bigger than what hurt you. Your vision is calling. Don't let your past answer. There comes a point in your journey where you realize that obedience isn't always about understanding, it's about trust. And that's where vision demands something deeper from you. Not just belief, not just desire, but commitment. A steady, unwavering, even painful commitment to walk out what God spoke, even when you can't see how it's going to happen. Because if you're going to overcome the shadows of your past and move forward into the vision God gave you, you're going to have to settle it in your heart. You can't keep looking back. You can't walk toward destiny while dragging the weight of history. You can't speak life while silently nursing the voices of defeat. You can't carry the cross and carry the shame at the same time. One of them has to go. Some of us have grown so used to surviving that we've forgotten how to pursue. You've learned how to endure the storm, but you've forgotten how to expect a sunrise. And if you're not careful, your past pain can start convincing you that maybe survival is the best you'll ever get. But God didn't create you to just survive. He created you to thrive, to flourish, to reign with purpose and walk with power, and the only way to step into that kind of life is to refuse to be ruled by what you've already come through. You have to stop negotiating with the version of yourself that pain created. That version of you may have protected you. That version may have gotten you through dark seasons, but now God is calling you to build. And a survival mindset can't build a vision. It can only bunker down and wait for the next attack. Vision doesn't grow in fear. Vision grows in faith. It grows in discipline. It grows in the space where you say, God, I don't feel ready, but I trust that you are. Vision is often birthed in private, but it is tested in public. You get the word in a quiet moment with God, but you walk it out in the middle of chaos, in the middle of distraction, in the middle of criticism. And sometimes in the middle of silence, because there will be seasons where the God who gave you the vision feels distant. The same God who once spoke clearly now seems quiet, but hear me, His silence is not absence. His stillness is not abandonment. Sometimes He steps back to see if you will walk by what He already said. Will you move without another sign? Will you obey without needing a new confirmation every week? Will you hold fast to the word He gave you, even when the wilderness stretches longer than you expected? That's where character is formed. That's where purpose is purified, not when everything makes sense, But when nothing does and you still refuse to quit, you can't afford to live emotionally led when you've been vision called. If you follow your feelings, they'll have you forfeiting what heaven wrote about you. Feelings change, faith doesn't. Feelings waver. The Word of God stands forever, and that's the foundation you must build on. Not how you feel, not what people think, not how tired you are. You build on what God said, period. That's the difference between a good idea and a God idea. A good idea can be abandoned when it's no longer convenient, but a God idea anchors you, even when it hurts. It wakes you up in the middle of the night. It pulls on your heart in seasons where everyone else is content to settle. It reminds you you were made for more. You can't die here. You can't give up now. But you will never walk into that more if you keep giving past pain a seat at the table of your purpose. You've got to confront the lies. The ones that tell you you're not enough, the ones that tell you you're too late, the ones that whisper, no one will listen to you, you're not credible, you're not strong, you're not holy. You've got to stare those lies down and remind them, I've been covered. I've been cleansed, I've been called, and I will not go back. The healing process may not be linear, but your obedience can be. Every step you take in faith pulls you further away from the grip of what tried to destroy you. And sometimes obedience will look like silence, like not defending yourself when misunderstood. Sometimes it'll look like discipline, choosing purpose over pleasure, growth over comfort. Sometimes it'll look like forgiveness, letting go of the person who hurt you, not for their sake, but for your own freedom, because you can't take vision into the next level while still dragging bitterness from the last one. There's power in surrender, not the kind of surrender that gives up, but the kind that gives over your timeline, your control, your trauma, your pride. It says, God, I give you this process. I trust that even though I don't understand it, you are working all things together for good. That kind of surrender doesn't weaken you, it frees you. It releases your hands from clenching what was so they can receive what is. And here's the thing, people around you may not understand this transformation. They knew the old you, the wounded you, the reactive you, the doubting you, and they may try to keep you in that version of your story. But don't waste your breath trying to convince them of who you're becoming. Just keep walking, let your fruit speak, let your freedom speak, let your focus speak, because when you really start to walk in vision, you won't have time to keep explaining yourself to people who only see your past. You'll be too busy building, too busy healing, too busy pouring into others who are walking the road you once crawled through. God didn't call you to convince people. He called you to complete the assignment. So show up for it, all in, eyes forward, heart open, spirit ready. You are not here by accident. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are positioned right now for something divine, something eternal. And it has nothing to do with what you lost and everything to do with what you're still carrying. The vision is still alive. The pain may have slowed you, but it did not kill you. And if you're still breathing, God's not finished. So keep your eyes locked, not on the trauma, not on the triggers, not on the timeline, on the vision, because what's ahead of you is too important, and what's inside of you is too powerful. Keep walking. Keep believing. Keep building. The pain you came through will never compare to the glory you're about to walk into.